settle down to what really is an intriguing final. First ever final between two Welshmen, I think. Both good friends. Both super snooker players, and really you couldn't ask for a better setting than the Crucible for them to sort out their differences on the table.
One. So the first pot in this year's Embassy final goes to Matthew Stevens. Got an angle on the brown here, so take the pot on. He'll be trying to get on the red just above the black. Played it well.
Fine. Six.
Well, that was a bad contact. That's the reason he hasn't finished on the blue. Took the pace out of the white there.
Matthew Stevens, 6.
One has the feeling that there won't be a lot of real tactical frames in this final. They're both very capable of playing good safety play, but they're also both very attacking and given a chance. And here's an example. This is a dodgy red. The cue ball's going to run into the pack, but it's near the cushion.
One.
But one good pot like that, and he's created an excellent chance for himself.
Matthew was saying he was a little bit exhausted after the semi-final with Joe Swale. The fact that Joe fought back from 6 down to just 1 behind at one stage, so it did take quite a bit out of him. So he's only had the one night to recover, but it's going to be an intriguing encounter here.
Nine.
And referee John Newton retiring after this championship, and it's his first ever world final, and I'm sure he'll enjoy every minute of it.
Matthew Stevens, 12.
Well, an unforced error there from Matthew, and wasn't too difficult a shot, I think. Too busy trying to steer the cue ball, but he hasn't left anything easy for Mark. Well, there's an example of how good a touch Mark Williams has got when it's required. He's left his opponent in all sorts of trouble. This red near the pocket won't cut, I don't think, but if he got a thinnish contact on it, he could get the cue ball away, but if he catches this a bit thick, well, he could be in trouble. Now the first chance for Mark Williams.
One. Seven. Eight.
This is a very thin contact required. He's done well. He was never sure what was going to happen to the cue ball. It's finished perfect. I had one of the most difficult questions asked me on the way to the Crucible this afternoon. As some Welsh supporters said, who's going to win the final? And I thought, well, are they Matthew Stevens supporters or Mark Williams supporters? So the answer I gave them was,
23.
I just hope it's a great final. And I think it will be.
24. Thirty. 31. 38.
It's not there.
Mark Williams,
Looks a little bit
38.
bemused by that, maybe. Well, let's just see, at the pace, it can always just drift a little bit. Normally they curl into the pocket, but that one seemed to go straight. Well,
One.
but the four reds that are around the pink spot, they're all covering each other. So you play for the one over the pocket, then he needs a good angle, probably on the pink, to disturb those.
Eight. 9.
They're done with a bit more angle to get into the reds.
Well, Dennis said he hadn't got quite the angle, and that could be a let-off
15.
for Mark Williams, because the frame was there to be won, and that miss in the middle, I'm sure he thought it would be very costly. Certainly not at this visit, it won't be. Just 5 points behind now, Matthew, but he hasn't really got the angle to get behind the yellow here. If he came off that red thickish to try and get there, he'd push a red down the table. So I think he's just going to have to settle for getting the cue ball as near the baulk cushion as possible.
Matthew Stevens, 50.
It's got to be a fairly difficult match to play for both players, because they are good friends, they know each other's game so well, and they really are going to have to just forget those two facts and play it ball by ball. Superb judgment there from Matthew Stevens. And now Mark Williams has to be careful.
It's a very interesting opening frame we're witnessing here. It's that 38 break from Mark. Very fortunate there, Matthew. Although it's the best of 35 frames, it's always nice to get the opening frame. Just see enough of this one to have a go at it. The fascinating thing about this final is not only Mark Williams but Matthew Stevens. Well, they're terrific long potters, and it's going to be so interesting to see how that battle develops.
Well, just nudging the red towards the pocket. I think this will cut. It's a fine shot.
1.
But no way of getting to those 3 reds off anything, and no easy pot on anyway.
Yellow ball. Mark Williams 1.
Just going to say, Ray, for 2 players renowned for their potting abilities, we're seeing some terrific tactical play from them.
Yeah, absolutely, Dennis. It looked pretty open. I mean, Mark had that chance and then missed the red in the middle when it looks as if the frame was within 2 minutes of being finished. Matthew had a chance, lost position, and since then they've played some superb safety shots between them. Looks as if it was going to be about a less than 10-minute frame, which I'm sure there'll be a fair few of them between these two. Well, there you are. He's taken 2 reds from this cushion, and within a couple of shots they're out of commission at the other end. The bookmakers' odds for this match were made Mark Williams odds on, 2 to 1 on, Matthew 6 to 4 against, and that's understandable. That I think Mark Williams is the world #1, and he's had one final here last year, albeit he lost it, but a little more experience than his opponent. But there's not a lot to choose between them. And he's learnt pretty rapidly this week.
Got to be a bit careful if he tries to double this red and bring the white back up the table, that he doesn't get the double kiss. He could go close to the pocket with the red. Worked out quite nicely. There's the cue ball.
Oh.
Now that could be the turning point, because Matthew has
Oh.
got a red available now. And this is not a bad chance. The fact that he can place the white anywhere in the D. Could bring one of the other reds into play. Just have to be careful with that, otherwise he might snooker himself on pink or brown. He'd rather not play the cannon onto the red. But he just might have to. Well, I suppose the brown is still close to the pocket, but He didn't expect the white to be up this end. Oh, what a cracking shot. Look where he's striking, above centre on the cue ball. And that really is something a bit special there, to keep the white up that end.
Six.
Well, this isn't absolutely straightforward, but he hasn't got to do anything with the cue ball here. It's all the concentration on the pot on the red. Well,
Matthew Stevens, 8.
that was certainly a chance if he gets that one to take the opening frame, but it really wasn't very close. It never really got in the inside of the jaws at all. Well, there might be still inwardly a touch of tension there. I'm sure there will be. It's a big day for Matthew today, and it'll take a bit of time to really settle down. Stunned look on Mark Williams' face there. I think he can probably bend round the pink, and that might be the easier way, but you really wouldn't know where the red's going to finish. You'd be taking a chance.
Yes, it was going to be very difficult to make contact with the red and not leave it on there.
1.
Second bite of the cherry for Matthew to take this opening frame. He's not going to need the difficult blue. Yellow, green,
8.
brown would be enough.
10. $13. 17.
So needs to knock this blue in, Matthew, to make absolutely sure.
Matthew Stevens,
One snooker required to tie by Mark Williams. Well, he's going to go a snooker on the pink, which obviously means he could win if he gets the snooker, but as we always say, there's just 2 balls on the table now, pink and black, very difficult. If you don't get the snooker very early, you often don't get a chance.
Williams, 5.
Yes, he had a chance to get up behind the black off the blue, and the pink was in a good position to get a snooker behind, but he's limited his options now. This might be a chance to come off the side cushion, get in behind the black.
He can probably keep the pink out, but whether he can do anything with the cue ball is debatable. He wasn't able to. So the opening frame of this best of 35 final goes to the outsider, the younger Matthew Stevens. And a pretty interesting first frame, which developed into a fair amount of tactical play, but well, there was one or two interesting instances, but this one where Mark Williams actually played a near perfect safety shot. And he's going to have his opponent into all kinds of trouble, and the cue ball drops in the pocket. And, well, this gave Matthew a chance, and it led to a quite remarkable shot from Matthew, didn't it?
Yes, the sort of shot that we see Jimmy White play. You'd think you'd have to play it with bottom. He's striking above centre, follow through, pots the brown, but the white more or less stops up the other end of the table. So there you can see that it's quite an effective shot, but instead of playing it with bottom, you play it with top, and it looks so good when it comes off, and it certainly came off for Matthew there.
Well, he didn't actually win the frame from that, but it did lead to him getting a rather lucky snooker, and that did lead to him winning the frame. So one full of incident. It could have gone either way.